This is Eat, Sleep, Box and Repeat, and delighted to be joined by my esteemed colleague, Elliott as we preview the massive all-women's card from the capital, from London, the O2 Arena, on Saturday, 15th of October, this Saturday night. Obviously headlined by the big one, the middleweight undisputed clash between Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall. First and foremost, before we get into anything, I just want to say that obviously, if you didn't know already, you can access this fight via the link, and it'll be in our bio and any of our posts on social media. In the lead up to this fight, you'll be able to purchase the fight there. So if you're not if you don't subscribe to Sky and have it on your TV or whatever, you can buy a 24-hour package or whatever suits you the best. Just via this link, it really helps us out. So thanks very much for that. I'm going to throw it over to Elliott. Greg, how are you, my friend?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, very good. Obviously, we've talked about briefly off air. This is a stacked week, isn't it, for boxing? We've got cards, obviously, in London. We've got cards over in the US. Thoroughly looking forward to it after, what I suppose this will timestamp it by what I'm saying now, the disappointment of what happened with Eubank and Ben last week and not seeing any boxing really there. Looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to talking through it with you as well. So thanks so much for having me.
Yes, me too. I'm looking forward to this one. Obviously, this show is specifically about the all-women's card, the boxer show, Sky Sports boxer show on Saturday night at the O2, as I mentioned. And obviously, with our previews, we'll normally have a main event, an undercard fight, and an under-the-radar fight. But seeing as we're doing two separate videos for the boxing action this weekend, we thought we'll just give you a brief preview of the two main fights, and then just a quick recap of what else is on the card on Saturday night. So yeah. Obviously, I think we may as well start at the top, Elliott. I think we'll go with Shields Marshall first. So yeah, here's a quick rundown of the two records. Obviously, they're both 12-0, so it's quite a very even matchup. However, Shields only has 2 stoppage victories in the 12, whereas Marshall has 10. Savannah Marshall is 3.5 inches taller. She's 5'11.5", 78 reach advantage. Whereas Shields is only 5'8" and got a 68-inch reach advantage. Shields is 27, Marshall 31. Obviously you're looking at Shields, and she's a 3-division world champion now. She's won it down at light middleweight, and super middleweight. So yeah, and this is for every single belt in the middleweight division. Shields' 10th consecutive world title fight, believe it or not. And this is going to be Marshall's 5th consecutive world title fight. Obviously it was originally scheduled for September 10th, but the unfortunate events of the Queen passing away, it got delayed until now. But yeah, all female card, as I said, never been done before. Historic night. Bit of previous too between the pair here. 10 years ago at the World Championships in China, obviously Savannah Marshall inflicted Claressa Shields' only defeat as an amateur or professional boxer ever. So yeah, definitely a bit of beef, as we've seen from the gloves are off and stuff they've done in the build-up. I think it's quite a heated one. So yeah, Elliott, I'd just like your thoughts on this really, and then potentially how you see it playing out as well.
Thank you for that. That was a great introduction, and I think a lot of people to take away here is the fact as well that this is an even fight, isn't it? Essentially, in some ways. I mean, Claressa Shields would, as she has referred to herself as the greatest woman of all time for some time now on social media. But I think when you look at women's fights, I think obviously the female boxing scene is growing. And I think there's a few fights that are kind of also crossed over really into just being massive fights, irrespective of whether it's female or male boxing. So you've got, obviously, when I think of Katie Taylor, Serrano is another one. This Shields Marshall fight is huge. So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it. Simply the fact that I'm actually a big fan of Savannah Marshall. I've probably seen her fight as a female boxer probably more than anyone else. Probably her and then sort of Katie Taylor second on that list. And just the kind of no nonsense way that she kind of goes about things, the Peter Fury kind of way of going about things as well, I've got a lot of time for. So I'm excited for this, and I really obviously Shields' pedigree, like you say, multiple world champion, really is going to be a hell of a fight. And I'm actually genuinely looking forward to this one. I think if I had to pick which way I see it going, I don't want to go against Savannah Marshall. I don't really want to do that, but I almost feel like it's hard to look past Claressa Shields in a way, even though Marshall's got, as you were saying there, obviously advantages in sorry, I'm coughing there. Obviously, advantages in size going into the fight as well. I do think, will she stop her? Probably not. I can't be struggling to see her stop Shields, and therefore with Shields' boxing pedigree, I'm kind of leaning slightly towards her. But I'd absolutely love Marshall to bring it home on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think you made an interesting point there, Elliott. I think I actually agree with you in the sense that a lot of people are saying this is going to be Shields points or Marshall knockout. But I agree with you. I don't see this fight ending in stoppage in any way, no matter who wins. I do see it going the distance. I think, like, you're maybe just giving the slight edge to Shields. I'm gonna go on the other way.
There you go.
I'm gonna disagree with you, which seems to be quite frequent in our preview. Yeah, I think that I completely agree with everything you said. It's such a close fight. You know, as I mentioned there earlier, this is Shields' 10th consecutive world title fight, which is a bit ridiculous considering. I know it's a weaker pool of fighters, sometimes in the women's divisions, but a world title fight in her third fight or whatever it is, still incredible. 3 different weight divisions, and she's only 27 years old. Like, you got to take your hat off to her. I think she has the superior boxing pedigree, definitely. However, I can't overlook the size. To be honest, the size difference. I think that if she is smart, and Marshall does box, like the Peter Fury style on the back foot, almost in a way like Tyson Fury did with Klitschko, where Fury used his outside boxing, his moving, his jab, and just kind of used that to bamboozle Klitschko in a way. I think that if Marshall can do that and not get carried away thinking that she's this big puncher, yes, we all know she is a big puncher, but I think if she tries to stop Claressa Shields, that could be the undoing of her. So I think if you're Savannah Marshall and Peter Fury, you come up with a game plan and just try and get this on points, and I think that she will be able to do it on points personally.
No, mate, I'm all here for that, to be perfectly honest with you. If that happens, I'll be absolutely delighted. I think, like you were saying as well, I suppose, as you're giving the guy the rundown of the records there as well, I think Savannah Marshall obviously has power as well. So if you can kind of keep Shields at range, if Shields kind of gets in there, Savannah Marshall has got the power to hurt her. So I think that's also a key thing of how Shields will get in and out, obviously being smaller, almost in a kind of like Joshua Usyk kind of way, like how you got to get in and out and sort of go around it that way. So it is a fascinating fight, to be honest with you. I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing it. And I just hope it's a worthy fight, a headline fight, irrespective of any card, in my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I concur there. It's definitely a headline fight, and I'm just glad we're gonna finally, unless anyone get popped for performance enhancing drugs or whatever before the weekend, I hope we're gonna get some boxing on UK shores then this weekend. So yeah, obviously, as we said, that's a cracking fight in the main event, but there's also quite a good co-main event. I think this is another fantastic fight. Look really, really good on paper. Another difficult one to call. It's obviously Alicia Baumgartner and Michaela Meyer are fighting, and they're fighting for the WBC, WBO, IBF, and IBO World Super Featherweight titles. It's a superb fight. This is going to see who the number one in the division is at 130 pounds. I think. Quick rundown of both fighters. Meyer she's American, obviously 17-0, 5 stoppages. Fights from the orthodox stance, 5'9", 66.5-inch reach, 32 years old. To Baumgartner, who's 12-1 with 7 knockouts. So I think the power kind of favours Baumgartner here, as we know as well, for being UK fight fans from her fight with Terry Harper. She's also orthodox. She's a good bit smaller. She's 2.5, 3 inches smaller than Meyer, but is also 4 years younger. So yeah, I think that Meyer we kind of known about for a few more years. Baumgartner, I put my hands up and say I didn't really know a whole lot about her until the Terry Harper fight, but she looked explosive in that fight. Yes, Terry Harper was potentially dead at the weight, but it was still a fantastic performance. Meyer, this is her 5th consecutive world title fight. Baumgartner's 3rd consecutive world title fight. So yeah, it's another good fight to see who the number one is, as I say, in the 130-pound division. Very interesting one. So yeah, Elliot, who would you... Meyer is the slight favourite with the bookmakers, and I personally agree with that. But do you think, kind of two questions here at once, do you think Meyer is the worthy favourite based off her wins on her resume? And second off, does Baumgartner have the power to knock her out though?
I think we're going to segue nicely here into another disagreement, and so I'm hedging slightly towards Baumgartner, just because this is to be honest with you going to be somewhat of a biased opinion, because I did watch that Terry Harper fight, and I haven't seen, to be honest, too much of Michaela Meyer or Baumgartner outside of that. So I'm literally judging this as kind of really off the back of that in a few clips I've seen. But I think when you look at how she looked, like you say, like Terry Harper was struggling at the weight, but when you saw the sort of style of that, and the fact that she's obviously got 7 KOs in 12 victories there, she's got 1 loss there, which is a percentage is higher than you tend to get for a lot of women fighters, a lot of female fighters. So I think yes would be the answer in the sense that she obviously carries power, and I think could potentially hurt Michaela Mayer. But then you sit there and go, well, Michaela Mayer's not lost, not been stopped before. That has that sort of, like you said, physical advantages with height and reach as well. So I can see why she'd be the favourite actually with the bookies. I can see that, judging off just sort of like you said, the experience, being undefeated, but also to my mind, I think I'm going to back an upset here. To be perfectly honest with you, and I think Baumgartner is going to win. Whether it be stoppage is hard. It's hard to say that. I think it's almost like we were saying before, wasn't it? It's either going to be maybe points one, stoppage another. That I wouldn't like to be drawn on it, but I actually got just a feeling inside that Baumgartner's going to win this.
No, that's very interesting. I completely agree with what you said. She looked excellent against Terry Harper, and Terry Harper had been on a great run before then. Do you know? So that was kind of her coming out party to UK fans anyway. And another thing, she's fought over here before. I don't believe Michaela Mayer has.
Right.
But like you look at Mayer, and the one thing I do think Mayer will win, but the one thing I'm going to say, which is kind of agreeing with you, I suppose, Elliott, is the fact that Mayer's she's 5'9" and fights at 130 pounds. Baumgartner said a lot about she thinks Mayer struggles to make the weight big time, and it wouldn't surprise me if she does, because she's very tall for that weight, and yeah, you're going to struggle if you're 5'9" and making 130 pounds. It is going to be a bit of a struggle no matter who you are. So yeah, I think that in that sense, if she is weight trained, kind of like what we were saying for Ben Eubank, if it had gone ahead, Eubank being weight trained, could Ben have knocked him out? It's kind of similar here in the sense that if Mayer has struggled to make the weight, could Baumgartner land those big shots? And because she hasn't been able to rehydrate properly, it could be essentially knock Mayer out. But I personally think Mayer is the superior boxer here, and I could see her winning on points. I don't think it would be overly wide. I'm not going to say it'll be a 10-0, a 9-1, or an 8-2, maybe a 7-3, 6-4, but I do think she'll be a resounding winner come Saturday night in the co-main event. But yeah, it's another good fight, and yeah, I think the co-main event and main event here are definitely worthy of any cards. We've got in total we've got 7 or 8 world titles on the line, 2 different weight divisions in the top 2 fights. So yeah, you got to be happy with that.
100%. No, I totally agree with you, Paul. Actually, it's rare, isn't it, that we'd see. You would never see this in a male card with that amount of belts to be on the line in one fight, essentially. So we saw it obviously recently with Usyk Joshua, how the undercard was there, how the undercard was for White versus Fury. So yeah, you're not going to get essentially the support that we've got here. So I'm all for it, to be perfectly honest. I think, like you say, two very hard fights to call. Obviously, we've got a kind of private picks league that we'll be doing, which you and I are quite close in. And it looks like we're going to be separated again here on those. But I think I'm looking forward to it. Thoroughly looking forward to it, and it's a great card, and it's a great it'd be great obviously for Sky to put it on as well.
Yeah, totally agree. Just quickly, I've got one more question for you, Elliott, before we conclude. But yeah, I'm just going to quickly run down the rest of the undercard. Not going to go too in depth into any of these because there's so many different fights, and they're all real prospects really. So you've got the hottest prospects on there. I think that you'll maybe have heard of. Everyone will be Caroline Dubois, of course, the sister of Daniel. Lauren Price, who won the gold medal at the Tokyo 2022 Olympics. Karis Artenstall, who I believe won a bronze medal at the Olympics as well. They'd probably be the highest profile names on the undercard. Then you've got the likes of Ebony Jones, Shannon Ryan, Georgia O'Connor, Ginny Fuchs, Sarah Liegman, and April Hunter also on the undercard. So yeah, as we said, there's almost 9-10 all-female fights here. And my question for you is, Elliott, just on excluding the 2 main fights, the main and co-main, who are you most excited about on that undercard? Is it Dubois because she seems to be like her brother and carry quite a lot of power? Is it the Olympians in Artenstall and Price? Who are you most looking forward to watching on the undercard?
This is sounding quite weird because obviously she's fighting a fighter with 5-16-2 record, but I'm actually quite excited about seeing Artenstall. I watched her quite a bit in the Olympics. So I feel emotionally invested in seeing how she gets on. But Caroline Dubois is also a good watch. She's fighting someone 10 and 14, I think. Price actually got a reasonable opponent at 6-6-0. So I think like all of them have been in decent fights. But I think for me, the one that I'm mostly interested in watching is Artinsall. So yeah, I'll put the question back over to you. Out of the guys in the undercard, girls in the undercard, sorry, the women in the undercard. How are you? Who are you most excited to watch?
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything you said there. I'll probably say that the one I'm most interested in is Caroline Dubois, just because she's still 21, 22, like super young. And just looks like she's an absolute machine. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. With you don't want to. I know that, as I said earlier, the pool of talent isn't as deep in the women's divisions. However, like, you're thinking Dubois, like, she could probably win a world title next year.
Yeah.
She's that good, despite only being early 20s and literally only turning professional. She is that good. I think Dubois is one of them you could see in the years to come to just win titles in loads of different weight divisions. So yeah, I'd probably say Dubois, but I definitely agree. Price is in a good fight on paper, I think, and Artingstall has looked good since she's turned over. Obviously, all of those other names on there as well. There are a few good ones, I believe. April Hunter's been training with Peter Fury and Savannah Marshall too. So yeah, few good fights on there. So yes, Elliott, thanks very much for your time today. I hope we've done this card justice, looking through it. And as I said at the very start of the video, if you haven't got Sky Sports, or if you have no way of watching the fight, there'll be a link in the video in the description below as well. Check out our social media. We'll have a lot of links and stuff posted throughout the course of the week for you to be able to view the fight if you haven't already been able to do so. So yes, Elliott, once again, thanks very much for this week's preview, and I'll catch you again soon.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you. And yeah, guys, obviously sign up, watch the fights, have a good evening on Saturday. We'll be back in obviously next week when we to preview again. But there's a lot to watch this week. So yeah, enjoy as boxing fans.